What's up, folks? Um, okay, as you can see, the title is Q&A on Magic, Q&A on the occult, Q&A on witchcraft. I have 1 hour uh, in my schedule where there's nothing on my schedule, so I thought, what could I do right now? I was like, okay, let's do a live. I actually didn't want to do lives anymore because inevitably, when I go live, some I don't know what it is, man. Somebody, some little uh, bitch will I don't know will start whining, complaining, bitching. That's what they do, right? So I actually decided not to do any lives anymore. But this is the last attempt. Okay, if today there's some stupidity going on here, I'm not going to do them anymore. So uh, that's it. Yeah, I'm ready to take your questions and answer them to the best of my ability. So, what do you want to know about magic? What do you want to know about witchcraft? What's up? How can I help you? Yeah. Well, what's up, guys? I'm waiting for questions if you have any. I'm doing chakra work. Do you combine visualization and feeling at the location of the chakra, or simply visualize things? I would, I would not visualize. It's unnecessary. Just put your attention there until you feel the energy flowing, and that's going to open the chakra. No visualization necessary. Visualization is something that's gonna distract you from the feeling. See, and feeling is the most important thing. Feeling is the most important thing in all of this. Okay, sensing energy. Since starting working with some of the Norse gods, I've gotten impressions that some of them actually are aliens and involved in our evolution. Do you have any experience with them? I do have experience with them. I can't say anything about that. What you're saying here, I don't know what you base that on. Mm, That's I can't really say anything about that. Should a sigil be designed, created during a ritual, or can it be made at any time? It can be made at any time. Hi, Frank. Do I have to be initiated into a system in order to work with the spirits? Depends on the system. Depends on the system. Yeah. In certain systems, you can only work with the spirits of that system if you are initiated. That's when they recognize you. In other systems, you don't need that. You know, it really depends. Yeah. So I would say most systems you don't need to be initiated in at all. Mm, Let me say something about self-initiation here. Self-initiation is a concept uh, that has been, I don't know, pushed, perpetrated by certain people. Self-initiation is, in my opinion, impossible. Makes no sense because you need to like look at the word initiation means something is being initiated, right? So something needs to come from the outside to affect your energy in a certain way. Okay, it initiates something, it lights a spark within you. Now, that has to be done by somebody or something that is beyond you in their development. Okay, usually somebody who's longer in the tradition, who's better at what they do, who's initiated deeper. in their practice. So self-initiation, in my opinion, makes no sense because how are you going to initiate yourself into something that you uh, don't have access to? You see. So for initiation, true initiation, you need somebody outside of you. And now you might say that a spirit can do that for you. Actually, no. In order to have access to the energy of the spirit, you must be initiated oftentimes, okay? So, see, initiation must be done by somebody who is more advanced than you. Otherwise, self-initiation is impossible, in my opinion. W- Will it create complications working with two different spiritual systems at once, or should that be done separately during different times? Wow. Man, I don't know how much time you got, but my schedule is really full, and I have to really be disciplined to be able to work one current at a time. Okay. I don't know what your lifestyle looks like, but if you can work two, like, and when I say work a current, I mean do it thoroughly, do it in the right way, not just calling up a spirit here and a spirit there. When you say working a system, working a specific path, I have a hard time believing that that can be done, meaning two at once. You got to immerse yourself in that fully. It's like um, anything else, man. Like I don't believe it's possible to do that usually. So let's talk a little bit about how you're supposed to work a system and how that actually works. Okay. And see, true occult work requires that you're dedicated and you are disciplined and you have a regular practice. So when does your spiritual practice work or begin? It begins right after you get up. You begin your spiritual practice. You do your meditations. You immerse yourself in the energies of that system, and then you work with them. And then throughout the day, multiple times, you realign your energy with that current. Okay. See, any current will affect you, and since it is as within, so without, it will affect your external world as well. Okay. But for that, you have to immerse yourself in that energy multiple times. And the same applies to your goals. If you have a goal, you have to, from the moment you wake up till the moment you go to sleep, you have to readjust yourself to that energy. You got to readjust yourself to that frequency and then live from that frequency. That's the only way to accomplish that. Okay. You wanna know what separates a winner from a loser? It's exactly that. Everybody, any let's say winner. So let's take I don't know fighters for example. Okay, fighters as an example, and they're working months up to the point where they're going to confront each other, right? But they don't win in the fight. They don't win when they step into the ring. They win on the path to the fight. How? The one that is more convinced that he's going to win, most likely he's going to win. The one that aligns his frequency more with that of a winner is going to win. The one that controls thoughts, words, and actions with the intention is going to win, you see? So, this is how you need to live your life. This is where discipline comes into play. There is no mundane or meaningless activity that you do, you see? This is where most people fall short, and this is why most people don't accomplish their goals because they're not dedicated. See, and dedication means that you make one decision, and a decision automatically cuts off the rest. All right, it's actually very simple. You've made a pick now. Fucking stick with it. Right, the rest has to be cut off. But most people can't do that. You see, they can't stick with that decision. They can't keep moving. And what does that actually mean to stick with that decision? It means you align your speech with it, you align your thoughts with it, and you align your actions with it. Okay. Also, your energy. Get yourself onto the frequency of what it is that you picked. continuously, even if you don't see it with your physical eyes. You got to see it internally first. Have you ever watched Muhammad Ali? Please, if any of you guys never watched Muhammad Ali, and then how he talked and how he was getting himself like ready for a fight, and how he was manipulating himself on a constant basis. Floyd Mayweather is very similar. Floyd Mayweather. Watch how he talks to himself. Watch how he talks to the world. Watch how he like interacts with things. You see what I mean? That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They just stay on the frequency. They just stay on the frequency. They just stay on the frequency. You know. So you can do that without being like too braggy. Like you can do that and be like humble externally, but internally you gotta be totally focused on what it is that you want. Okay. That's how you do it. You cannot allow the enemy to take space in your mind. You understand? And the enemy in this case is your weaker self, your the loser that you got inside of you. Okay? You can't let that win at all. Can't allow that any space. Okay. Question about money magic course. Could my 10% money magnet account be a Roth IRA? I don't think so. Roth IRA? No. See, the Roth IRA is in some way or another, it's connected to the stock market. The stock market is going to go up and down. Okay. Right now, it's going down. Okay. And I believe um, the closer we get to the election, the lower it's going to go. Okay. The dollar is super weak. It's crazy. Um, and why is that going to happen? Well, um, I don't know if you guys are familiar with BlackRock. Are you familiar with BlackRock? Have you heard of that? Well, BlackRock is the biggest hedge fund in the world. So they have, I think, $4 trillion under management. Okay, they are the biggest investors in every single S&P 500 company. Okay, they have more stocks in Facebook than Mark Zuckerberg. They have more stocks in Amazon than Jeff Bezos. Okay, they have more stocks in what's another example? Like they're the biggest single shareholder in the biggest companies out there. Okay, so you wonder who calls the shots? It's probably Larry Fink, who runs BlackRock. Okay, you think Jeff Bezos controls Amazon? This is probably not him. Okay, and that's the kind of guy that can call any president, any minister, any prime minister of a country, and they will show up to meet with him. But the point is that I'm making here, Joe Biden wants to make him uh, the minister of finance or secretary, yeah, secretary of finance when he if he wins. Okay, now you might think that the people voting actually determine who becomes president. I mean, that's ridiculous. It doesn't work that way. Okay, I mean, there was who said that, but I mean, if elections actually changed something, they would be forbidden. That's what they say. Okay, and it's definitely true. Okay, so who controls who becomes president? It's essentially Wall Street. Okay, they determine who becomes president, and rather recently, I believe that they took sides against Trump. Okay, so in my opinion, Trump is not going to win. Okay, and Biden said that Larry Fink, the guy that runs BlackRock, is going to be his Secretary of Finance. Okay, so all that guy needs to do is move the markets down, and he can do that with the $4 trillion in assets. Okay, he can he can definitely move the markets down, and Wall Street is not going to like that, and they're going to, and who's going to suffer? It's going to be Trump. So the point is this. Back to your question. You asked me if a Roth IRA is good for that. No. The money magnet, the principle of the money magnet is that it is an account that consistently grows in its value. Okay? You put money into it, and it works energetically. It doesn't necessarily work by in terms of money or in terms of like numbers and digits, but it works energetically, meaning you take something, you put it in there, and then it attracts more of it. Um, uh, this Roth IRA is connected to the stock market, so the value of your savings are going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. So it violates that principle that it only goes up. Okay, so it's probably not good to do that. One world currency coming. Yes, Mr. Fink got some power. No, completely. I'm not too sure about that. Okay. I did recently a reverse candle where I wrote my enemy's name and the flame went ballistic and split it in three. And then it even projected on the table. The residue was a scary black demon, like little figure. Cool. Hey Frank, hope you're doing good. Yeah, thanks. Doesn't mean I touched my target. You will see that when you get the results, How do you know your spell worked when you have the results, Khazar, if Biden wins, then I bet Lockheed Martin gonna have some cash coming in. Um, do you think Trump is not part of the military industrial complex? I mean, just because he talks about the deep state or actually mentions it doesn't mean that he's not part of it. And there's nothing that works against the deep state, you know. I truly believe that people have a wrong impression of Trump. But hey, that's my opinion. And you can have your opinion. I'm not talking. Probably shouldn't get into politics here. Unnecessary. But Lockheed Martin, yeah. I mean, Lockheed Martin is a weapons producer. Okay, and the military-industrial complex is essentially something that's been uh, using the U.S. government for business, if that makes sense. Okay, so America's economy is dependent on consistent warfare because that means that the military industry, you know, uh, has a lot of jobs. Has a lot of jobs to do, if that makes sense. Okay, a lot of contracts, a lot of weapons that need to be produced. Okay, that's a machine that constantly needs to be moving. So um, that's why the U.S. has to go to war on a constant basis. Okay, America's, which is funny. I mean, most if you ask most Americans, they would never say that America is an empire, but America is an empire, 100%. America has military bases across the world in more than I don't know how many countries, more than 200 countries, I think. Or is it? I think 195 countries or something like that. In a lot of countries, in most of the world, America has military bases. America is run by 300,000 people. The super wealthy, they run Congress, they run the Senate, and they also determine foreign policy and, of course, policy inside of the country. Anyone, if there's anyone here who believes Trump is for the middle, for the small guy or for the little guy, look at what laws he's actually put out there. Okay, they all help the wealthy, the super rich. Okay, tax breaks for everybody. But then again, Americans are super uninformed. It's crazy how little the average American actually knows about their own country. Never, let's not even talk about the outside world. Okay, it's not even funny, man. It's crazy how uninformed people are. Okay, instead they believe in like QAnon and some other bullshit, right? Instead of actually knowing who runs the country. It's crazy. It's really crazy, man. I can see that in in so many different ways. But the point is, yeah. So that the military-industrial complex is requires constant war, constant, yeah, war, and that's why there are so many conflicts around the world. Okay, it's not to bring democracy to anyone. It's not to export freedoms or whatever. That's ridiculous. See, so you got a population that is being fooled with patriotism that is being played against each other, black against white, this against that, this against that. But at the same time, like it's only the wealthy that benefit, and the average American is really suffering. You know, 100 million Americans are in poverty. Okay? 100 million people, right? And instead of knowing who's actually ripping them off, they fight against each other, which is really funny. Yeah. But I mean, I guess that's what it is. So, can a love spell indeed change completely person's will and bring it into your life? How much realistic indeed? Well, it depends on you, it depends on the person. If you look, I mean, magic is basically changing probabilities. Okay. A very good spell, a very good spell, let's say the most potent spell that you can do, will increase your chances by, let's say, 60 to 70%. Okay. So it must be in the realm of possibility, so to speak. Okay. If you are a overweight and unattractive 70-year-old guy, and you do a spell to get who would be to you do a spell to have a relationship with Margot Robbie or something like that, or who's Megan Fox, or um, like any of those bombshells, right? That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Okay, because it's too unlikely. It's too unlikely. All right. So think about it. If it is, I mean, you can move probabilities quite a bit. Okay, you can do a lot with that, but don't go for this crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Okay, work with what is likely, or what is probable rather. Okay, what is probable. Okay, or even just if the girl is like 18, 19 years old, you're gonna have a hard time, unless the guy's super rich, of course. Okay, if the guy's a millionaire, billionaire, or something like that, yeah, and there's a possibility, right? She might overlook that other stuff, but completely alter a person's will, you can push it into the direction that you want. Yeah, but yeah, unlikely stuff is unlikely to happen. Where do you see the USA go in the next 10 years? You moving there, right? Yeah, but look, I'm in the fortunate position that I don't have to stay in one place. Okay, if that makes sense. I'm actually a world citizen. I don't give a shit. Yeah, I will move to the US, but if I don't like it there anymore, I just move somewhere else. There are many different other places. I mean, many different beautiful other places to live in, where the weather's great, taxes are low. So I'm in a fortunate position. Really, I don't really care. I don't really care where the US goes. Um, you are so handsome. Appreciate that. Thank you. So but okay, I can tell you where I see the U.S. in 10 years. I see the U.S. in 10 years. Um, Man, where do you see the U.S. in 10 years? I think there's a yeah, I mean there has to be an economic reset for sure. Okay. The economy is really bad. Economy is really bad. A lot of people are struggling. There is going to be a second lockdown, in my opinion, for sure. And a lot of people still don't want to wear masks because they still don't believe that this virus is real. Okay, that's fine. But see, 43% of those jobs that have been, or the people that have been let go, okay, the unemployment, 43% of those jobs are not coming back. So half of the jobs that have been lost are not going to be replaced. Imagine what that's going to do to unemployment. Okay. So I think the US is in a really bad place, in a really bad place right now. You know, uh, where's it going to be in 10 years? Oh man, it's really hard to say. See, I believe that something like universal basic income should be introduced. Besides that, we have the Agenda 2030. I don't know if you heard about that. Okay, the Agenda 2030 is something that has been signed by almost every country in the UN, including the United States. And uh, well, the Agenda 2030 is essentially the agenda for where the world's supposed to be in 2030, and it's being implemented very, very fast. Okay, so I believe universal basic income is going to be a reality. Okay, which has good sides and bad sides because look, with the way the economy is going, so I mean, a lot of people are going to be like just fucked, right? But when you give them universal basic income so that they can actually live, you know, not rich or anything, but they can actually survive and all that, and then healthcare is taken care of, you know, that's going to help a lot. But then that gives governments a lot of power because they can tell you. I mean, yeah, you're going to get your basic income, your universal basic income, but that gives them control over your behavior, if that makes sense. Okay, so if you do this, we're just going to cut your benefits, or we're gonna not going to give you this if you don't do this. So I believe we're moving towards more and more control of in the hands of governments, not necessarily for the better, but I also don't think it's for the worse because I truly believe that people left to their own devices are gonna fuck things up. That's for sure. Okay, people are just too irrational. It's just what it is. Okay, people are too irrational. You can't have a discussion about things. People are uninformed. Okay, how many have even heard or are even interested in the Agenda 2030? Okay, most people are interested in what's going on Netflix, what Kim Kardashian and Kanye West were talking about, and how they can afford their next pair of Balenciagas or something like that. That's what most people care about. Okay, so uh, the world probably has to go that route. Okay, where centralized power calls the shots. Okay, and, you know, and it's going there anyways, regardless of what you say or what you want. Do you have new tattoos? I actually got some lasered. I'm getting some removed, some of my tattoos. So getting them lasered. In fact, about the future was divined by someone like yourself. Is it possible that the fact in question could be changed with sufficient energy? I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, look. Uh, okay, what you're saying here is if the Agenda 2030, is that what you're saying? That's gonna be very hard to change, you know? It's gonna be very, very hard to change because it's a contract. That's not just like a vague intention. It's a contract that has been signed by almost all governments in the world. Okay, and you can't get out of that. So it's moving in that direction, and I think it's very hard to change. So now the question is, what's inside of that Agenda 2030? Okay, what do they put in there? Um, Less meat consumption, which I think is a good thing. Yeah, because we got 8 billion people on this planet. If they all try to live like people in the let's say in the West, in the United States or in Europe, the resources of this planet are just not enough. Okay. Plus, climate change is a reality. Okay, it's threatening the future of this planet, the future of the species. You got to do something about that. But people won't change their ways unless you impose something. Okay. So less pollution is also one of the things that they want to bring in there. More what's the word? More equal rights. Okay. So the it's no surprise or it's no what's a coincidence that racial injustice and all that stuff is a big topic right now. Okay. That's intentionally so. So people, that's why a lot of things are going to change around that because the elites are actually behind that. Then there's uh, what else? Uh, More and more. What's the word? Gender equality is also a big deal. And you can see that all over the place, right? Now, I believe most of those things are actually good. Um, and let's be honest, most people wouldn't stop doing that left to their own devices. Most people are too shell selfish. They have like I said, they care about what's going on Netflix and they care about what Kanye West says. Okay, that's what they're interested in, and QAnon or whatever crazy conspiracies are out there. Okay, so you know, look, it is a fact that if there wasn't an agenda where the planet should be in the future, it will go to fucking hell. That's for sure. Okay, because people are not going to change. People are what's the word? Stupid. I don't know. How are you doing? It's my first time here. Welcome. Okay. I know a ton of people that are unemployed and they're still holding on to the idea of a secure salaried position. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Okay. Uh, Sounds like more robots. Yep, probably. I have asked people around here in Scandinavia, no one ever heard about Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. Okay. 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 Which question should I take here? Have you ever worked with the spirit Amazabuza? No, I have not worked with that. I have not worked with him or with that. Um, can you give clarity about haunted objects, please? How to bind spirits for a specific purpose? Well, I think I did a video on that. Uh, so you might want to look at that. Do you mind sharing which tattoos you are removing and why? You no longer in alignment with those energies? Um, yeah, like a lot of my servitors, I'm removing them. Some of the symbols a lot, because they were useful for a certain amount of time, but now I'm changing, and that's why I'm removing them. So yeah, and the good thing is there's lasers. Okay, but looking at at the Agenda 2030 plan, there are some investment opportunities if played right. 2030. Uh, well, maybe not because of that agenda. Well, yeah, different and different. I mean, yeah, I mean, some industries are definitely going to benefit from it. Okay, for sure. That's definitely true. But what's more important, I think, are baby boomers that are retiring. Okay, so you should look at that maybe. That's a big factor. Um, in my opinion, I mean, I'm not giving you any advice here. What's your take on chaos magic? Um, what's my take on chaos magic? Um, are you asking for my definition of what chaos magic is? Chaos magic is essentially the understanding that magic relies on techniques rather than specific entities or a specific system. What does that mean? Any system can be used to cause real changes. So pretty much any system works. Whether you use the Egyptian system, the Norse system, the some Buddha type of stuff, all of that stuff can be used and can give you good results. But the question is how you make them work for you. You see, so chaos magic, in my opinion, is first and foremost the understanding that what makes magic work are specific abilities that you develop, psychic abilities, okay, which is concentration, the ability to direct energy, and the ability to enter a trance. That's what gives you the ability to work any system and work with any spirit. And then you learn as many systems as you can, but not superficially. Okay, you really when you explore a system, you dig deep and you really work it and you really understand the energies and you get really good at that system, and then you might switch to a new one. So you don't become religious. There are a lot of people who are like, my system is the best. They're almost like religious people, but we have a more, like in chaos magic, you have a more scientific approach where you know it's not one system that all has all the answers, you see. So that's essentially what it is. How can you do telekinesis? Had you achieved that? No, I can't do telekinesis. How do you increase self-love and improve your relationship with other people in your life? Well, um, how do you increase self-love? You got to reset your filters in your subconscious mind, which is, you know, have something like a brag book. Okay, a brag book where you write down what you're proud of about yourself. Okay, so on a daily basis, maybe in the before you start your day, you write down why you are, what you're proud of. Okay, and you write down 10 things. I'm proud of that I worked out this morning. I'm proud that I stuck to my diet. I'm proud that I take care of myself. I'm proud that I study every day. I'm proud that um, I'm such a great lover. I'm proud that whatever comes to your mind, you write that down, and then you create a 50 stacks of awesome, which is, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have a hard time coming up with 50 things, but another 10 things, 10 stacks of awesome, and 10 things that make you awesome. I'm awesome because I'm curious about everything. I'm awesome because I'm really clean and organized. I'm awesome because I know so many things and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So you write those things down every day, and that's gonna help you with self love because your filter is not going to be on the negative after a while. Your filter is going to be on the positive, you see. And you train your mind to look at more positive things about yourself. Okay. Instead of seeing the negative things, you're going to start seeing the positive things. And since you're focused on the positive things, you're going to get more of that. Okay. Let's say you have a problem going to the gym, but if you know, ooh, I can write that into my brag book later, you're actually going to go to the gym. That's going to be the thing that motivates you. All right. And this is how you're going to keep going towards your goals. Besides that, I believe you also need to be of value to other people. That's how you need to do that. Do you understand? So you can't actually feel good about yourself if you're only helping yourself. I think that's not possible. You got to be of value to other people too. Other people have to value you, but not because you're so pretty, not because you're like, it can't be something that you haven't done anything for. You see, it's because you actually gave value, because you helped that person. That's the best way to develop self-esteem actually, and probably the only way to develop like actual self-esteem. Knowing that you help other people, knowing that you're doing good for other people, that you are a constructive force, a helpful power in other people's lives. That's really the only way I think, you know. So try to do that. Yesterday I felt not so great, you know. Like I went to the gym, I did my meditations, my work with the spirits, and then I had to do groceries. Okay, so I went and did groceries, and some homeless guy came up to me and asked me for a change, and I had €8 with me, so I gave him €8, and then I asked him what his name was. He said, "My name's Chris," and I asked him, "How long have you been homeless?" And he told me, "I've been homeless for 4 weeks." And then, okay, what happened? What happened? How did that happen? Well, he was in a relationship with a woman, and she started to have an affair with one of his colleagues, okay, behind his back. So she kicked him out of his place that he was paying for, okay? So he was renting the place, obviously, but she kicked him out. He was paying the rent, okay? And his colleague got him fired. So this guy's homeless now. So I told him, come with me. Come with me. And I went to the ATM and I gave him $100, €100, okay, which is around $120. I gave him that, and that guy flipped out. He's like, "Are you serious? Are you serious right now?" And I'm telling you, he flipped out, and he had this big smile on his face. And I was like, thank you so much. If I ever can give you, it's fine." But my smile was even bigger. Okay, and that made my day. After that, my day was better. Okay, my day became better. So that's one example. So in whatever way you can, try to help somebody without trying to get something back for it immediately. Okay, and help people out in some way or another, and that's gonna be a good way to feel better about yourself too. Okay, so that's what I would do. Okay, and I actually do that quite often, to be honest, man. Uh, so so let's see. If people by spending time together have strong energetic connection, what about student and master? Is there something strong there? Yeah, of course. Anybody you spend time around, you build a connection with. Is it important to to get tattoos connected to specific entities on the corresponding day of the week? If so, what would you do if you don't know the corresponding day? Well, I would try to find out what planetary energy that spirit is connected to, and then look for the day that matches that, you know. And I don't think it's important. No, you don't have to do it. I did it with a lot of them, but you don't have to. It's not a requirement. Does it does it make sense to consider your higher self as your higher power? Yeah, but I gotta be able to access that higher power, you know. So the work is reconnecting to that higher self. That's the hard part, you know. Yeah. So can you access that? That's the question. You're amazing. Helping others helps you too. That's made me cry. That's so kind, Frank. Yeah, thanks. Hello. Yeah. I'm a very kind individual, actually. I am. Definitely. Um, but see, I think it's important to understand that the whatever you do for others, you get back in some way or another. You know, it's definitely going to be returning to you. So that's fine. Yeah, help others out, and you're going to be helped too, for sure. How demons and spirits in general have rulers, titles, etc. Uh, have rulers, titles, etc. How demons and spirits in general have rulers, titles. I really don't understand that question. Uh, how do you become a better person and more mature? Does that come with experience and age? Um, it comes with an understanding of everything being connected or you being part of everything. That's really the key, I believe. You see, but um, you have to work or no, not work on it, but you want to get to the to the realization and the feeling that everything is connected, that you are part of something greater. I think that's maturity, and for that you need to be humble. You need to learn to be humble, and what makes you humble is often tragedy in your life. Okay, when you or being in hard places, you know, experiencing hardship, that makes you humble in a lot of ways. Okay, and uh, it makes you also understand that there's something greater than yourself, than your ego. Okay. And at that point, you see yourself as part of something greater and uh, try to work for that. Okay. And you don't take yourself too serious anymore. What I mean by that? Does it mean you let others walk all over you? No, of course not. But it's a sense of the world doesn't revolve around you. That's really what it is about. Okay. And it doesn't. And I think that's maturity, you know. For a lot of people, they have the realization once they become parents, for instance, okay, when they really like feel that there's something more important than them right now. A lot of people never go and get there, you know. You get a lot of I know 50-year-olds that aren't there. Okay. They think the whole world revolves around them and it's all about their like getting their pleasures and having their fun and all this bullshit. It's all about having yeah, fun to them. But that's not being mature, of course. That's just being a kid. It's being a child. Yeah. So yeah, I mean the question is I think the most important question you have to answer in your life is what are you willing to sacrifice yourself for? That's really the question that you have to ask. What are you willing to, yeah, sacrifice for? What are you willing to, uh, yeah, sacrifice yourself for? Because if you live solely for the idea of yourself, you're bound to suffer. What people don't understand is that the ego is a trap, and it's the root of your suffering. You taking yourself too serious is the root of your suffering. You see? Because at that point, if the self is way too serious or is way too important, then it becomes about the self. But it's not about the self. It's about a spiritual development. Okay, so the ego becoming. I mean, anybody who takes their ego too seriously is not on a spiritual path, I believe, because they're too much trapped in their identity, which is not really what they are. Okay. So how do you find balance between ego and a spiritual and your spiritual self? Well, you just live for something that's greater than you. You got to understand what you want to sacrifice for. And life is that. Life is really that. You sacrifice for something. You sacrifice your time, you sacrifice your energy, and you sacrifice your efforts, your concentration. But what are you willing to sacrifice that for? And you have no choice but to sacrifice it. Okay. You might say, I sacrifice my time and my energy on pleasure. Okay, you're still sacrificing. And you know what you're sacrificing more than anything? You're sacrificing achievement. You're sacrificing the feeling of actually having mastered something. You're sacrificing the feeling of accomplishment. Okay. So you have to prioritize long-term things over short-term things. Um, there's this experiment that they did. It's very funny, actually. And maybe you can watch it on YouTube. Maybe you can find it on YouTube where they did a test with kids, and it's a marshmallow test, which means they gave like these 4 or 5-year-old kids one marshmallow, okay, and they told them, hey, if you can wait for 10 minutes and not eat that, you're going to get a second one, okay, and then they filmed these kids waiting, okay. And it's really funny. You can see, I mean, watch this, you can find that video. But some of those kids went crazy. They were like pulling their hairs, like, oh, kids, like they were seeing that marshmallow. And some of them they couldn't control themselves, so they ate it before those 10 minutes were over. Right? The ones that could wait obviously got a second one. Now, then they went back 20 years later to those people and they compared their results in life. Okay, and the kids that could control themselves, the kids that could forego pleasure in the moment, thinking ahead, were way more successful. Okay, they were way more successful in life because they could prioritize long-term goals over short-term pleasure. You see, and that's the key, man. That's what it is all about. That's what it is all about. Okay, and anything that we admire, think about it. Anything that you admire, anything that you think is amazing, worthwhile, whatever, takes time and discipline to develop and acquire. Okay. Let's say you watch an amazing artist do his art. Let's say you watch an amazing magician lecture on magic. Or let's say I don't know, whatever you admire takes consistent work, and it takes discipline. And that's hard, man. It's uncomfortable. It's fucking uncomfortable. And but that's what it takes, you know? And the ones that are better at that get better results. That's what it is. Okay. How much discomfort can you take? That's the question. I really think that's what you can break life down to. I mean, that's really it, the question. How much discomfort can you take? Is there any way I can meet you? Is there any way I can meet you? Uh, for what? For what do you want to meet me? Depends on what. What do you want to do? You want to get training by me? Do you want to get trained? That will that will cost you. Okay, you gotta definitely pay me a lot of fucking money to do that. You're amazing. Frank, how are you? Good to see you, brother. Happy Thursday. Thank you very much. Happy Thursday to you. Um, just to talk. No, no. Well, no. You can't just talk to me. What do you mean? You gotta pay me for my time. To talk to you. That's weird. Just to talk. Sorry for asking multiple questions, but I'm a big fan of yours. It's not a problem. You can ask multiple questions. What is the step to get a working from you? I'm not doing workings right now for anyone. For myself, but not for anybody else. I'm doing readings right now. You can get a reading, but only like normal questions, please. Normal reasons to get a reading. Okay, I'm not gonna do curses on people. I'm not gonna do this and that for you. And yeah, how long do crystals keep their energy before they run out, and how often should I recharge them or cleanse? Well, that depends. It depends on the crystal. I can't give you a general rule here. Are you doing tarot readings? How can I get one? Is it on your website? I think so. Yeah, I think that. If not, you can go on Facebook and private message me. Okay, but I would hurry up. Okay, I'll stop doing readings on the 4th, and I'm already pretty full. Okay, so okay. Can you tell me any good beta waves to listen to alpha waves? Uh, I'm not completely sure what you're referring here to. I don't know. Um, is there a payback for working with Ars Goetia? Well, that depends on you. How do you handle the energies? Can you cleanse yourself from the energies? Do you immerse yourself too long in that? It's really like, yeah, yeah. There might be payback if that's your question. Yeah, you might get a negative repercussion from that. When merging with objects of concentration, do you simply do the 180 gaze at an object and tell yourself you are that object, or do you imagine yourself that object as a perspective in all things? Just be that object, really. That's it. The more kind of like self-talk you bring in, the more complicated you make it, the more you're going to get yourself out of the trance. Just be the object. I mean, look at the object and just be it. Just be it. Forget about yourself. That's probably the most important thing. Forget about yourself and be the object. That's it. That's really it. Uh, what's up, brother? What's up? Do you believe in karma? Yeah, in a way I do. Yeah. Karma is the look, the energy that you put out will return back to you. That's what it is. That's karma. It's cause and effect. Okay. It's cause and effect. The energy that you put out comes back to you. That's simple. Would there be a difference in manifestations using two different talismans associated with different planets for the same purpose? For example, fourth pentacle, Jupiter, third pentacle of the Sun. No, they will both be helpful, I think. Yeah. What types of question would you prefer, the I Ching over tarot? For what type of questions would I prefer the I Ching over the tarot? Um, no. I mean, I use both of those, and well, I believe that the I Ching is better at looking at like long time horizons. You know, if you would try to divine the entire year or something like that, then the I Ching is pretty good. But for like more concrete things, like short term, and then going into a lot of details, I like the tarot. I like the tarot better. Okay. I see very complicated philosophical questions here. That's okay. Is there a way to know if I'm haunted or cursed? Is there a way to know that? Yeah, yeah. I think I did a video on that. You might want to look at that. How to protect yourself from black magic or something like that. Okay. I've been practicing the middle pillar. What other methods of energy work can you recommend I look up? When you do the middle pillar, you're probably also doing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, which is good. I would include chakra work, which activates other energy centers than what the middle pillar does, right? And well, that's a good practice. That's okay. What rings do you have in your hands? I don't have rings in my hands right now. How did King Solomon have so many women under his power? Well, he probably was a king. Right? Being a king gives you um, a lot of women, I guess. I mean, they say that the distribution of um, it's a bell curve. It's really uneven. Most guys have very little access to women, and very few guys have a lot of access to women. So it's 80-20. So they say that 20% of men get 80% of the women. And I believe that's true. I definitely believe that's true. So most guys have, for most guys, women are a scarcity. Um, But well, how does that distribution or what determines the distribution? It determines for men it's usually their status. Status is very attractive to women. I believe, I'm not a woman, but I believe that status trumps all. Okay. Okay. And so a king has a very high status, therefore a lot of women, you know. So as a guy, you would do much better caring less about your looks, you know. I know a lot of guys are totally into that these days, They're totally into looking better. Hey, there's nothing wrong with looking good and all that, all right? But you don't have to look like a fucking supermodel. You don't have to necessarily have a six pack and all that. Even though it's good to work out, of course you should be in shape and all that. But I think guys focus on the wrong things. You should look as long as you stay physically fit and healthy and build up your say resources, you're gonna be good even when you get older. Don't focus on your looks. Don't focus on your looks. That's so wrong, I think. Well, that's my opinion. You have yours. That's fine. Do whatever you like. Do you suggest to integrate an order of magic like Freemasonry when starting out in this? Well, you're going to be very disappointed if you look for magic in Freemasonry. Okay, most Freemasons that you're going to talk about, they have no idea about magic at all. Okay, so you're going to be disappointed, my friend. But hey, make your own experience. I don't care. Can prayers alone get your manifestations rather than spells? Well, a prayer can be a spell. If you put in enough energy, it will be a spell. You know. What would you say are the limits of a pendulum? What type of question is too much for it to be accurate? Anything you can't answer in terms of yes and no is too much. What type of workouts do you do? I do a lot of flexibility exercises. I do cardio and I do weights. And I would say I would count martial arts as cardio. Would you do chakra work and middle pillar in the same session? Yeah. Did you get a new tattoo? No, I've gotten a couple of tattoos lasered, removed actually. You look like a supermodel, but with depth. Have you ever considered acting? Well, have I ever heard that? I've heard a lot of times that I look handsome to a lot of women. I would never say all women, because obviously women have different types. But I guess I look handsome to a lot of women. But no, I'm not considering acting, and I'm not considering becoming a supermodel or something like that. That's ridiculous. Yes, you do. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Can a gatekeeper get your relationship? Yeah, I guess so. Uh, is the magician ever satisfied, or is the thirst for progression always there? Yeah, it never stops. During the hum cell meditation in lesson 4 of Magic Mentor, should you have a specific goal in your mind? It seems that I can go anywhere. No, you just like look. The goal is to be everywhere at the same time. I'm everything, right? That's what the mantra means. I'm eternity. I'm everything, right? So that should be your goal. If your mind wanders, if it goes into specifics, you're getting out of the gnosis. Do your beliefs ever change? My beliefs, yeah, but my beliefs are chosen. Um, my beliefs are chosen. Your beliefs are a tool. Okay, I believe because look, we live in a world where you filter things. We filter things in our perception, and a lot of the filters are determined by our beliefs. So I would choose my beliefs to the extent that I can, and that's what I do. I reprogram myself on a constant basis, actually, you know, and I believe you should do that too. Well, if you ask me if there's a fundamental thing or something fundamental or foundational that I believe in, it's um, what I believe in. That my choice is, or my decision is senior to external influences. I have to believe that, even if that's not the case, because otherwise I don't feel at cause. Something that's very important is that you feel at cause. You should always strive to feel as the cause of things in any area of your life. Wherever you feel affected or out of control, strive to get to a point where you feel at cause. Okay, let's say you feel affected or at effect when it comes to your taxes, for instance. Okay, well, you should learn as much as you can about taxes so that you feel at cause and you control that game, or at least understand the game and and when you feel a cause about something, it automatically means that you can control it in some way or another. Okay, and that's what you should strive for. And when I take on the belief that my decision is superior to external influences, let's say I have a specific goal, but there's an external influence that tries to stop that, and not even intentional, but it's an external influence that makes it harder for me to accomplish the goal. I could hold the belief that it's okay to have an external influence get me off course and to not accomplish that goal, but that's not a belief that I have. My belief is that my decision to accomplish something is senior to any external influence. And since I have that belief, I can overcome that external influence and eventually, accomplish that goal. You see, and that's how you should structure your mind. Okay, one of the beliefs that you should hold is that your decision is senior to any external influence. Period. So yeah, look at your beliefs. I analyze yourself, analyze your mind in terms of what beliefs you hold, and then change them. Okay, change them. A good method to learn that would be NLP. Okay, study a little bit NLP, and then how to restructure your beliefs, maybe, or maybe do some hypnosis. Sorry if it's too much of an intimate question. And what do you do besides the occult, Frank? What do I do besides the occult? I'm a businessman for the most part. Uh, I have a couple of businesses that I run, and rather recently, you know, uh, basically buying and selling businesses is what I'm doing right now. Okay, buying and selling businesses. What else do I do besides that? Um, besides the I learn about life, I guess. That's what I do. Learn about life, learn about the world. But see, the occult, I believe, like the real work must happen in the world, real occult work. You take the insights and the understandings that you gain from your occult work and you exercise them in the physical. I believe that's what you should do, you know. So everything that I do is a cult. Loyalty is a belief, quite rare nowadays. Okay. How do you balance ethics with power? Well, only if you have power you can have ethics. So ethics are a trait of power. Look at people that have no power. They also usually don't have ethics. Personal power is required to have ethics because ethics means that you have a certain code of conduct or a certain code that you don't break. But if you are powerless, other people can make you break that code. So power and ethics are one and the same. The most powerful people are usually also the most ethical. They go together. Okay. So a person that has no ethics is usually weak. Okay. That's why I'm never afraid, and you should never be afraid of people that have no ethics or that are evil. Evil people are weak, you know? The strong are kind, the strong are good, you see? So I think you got that a little bit wrong here, you see? I mean, I know we hear a lot about people in power that misuse their power and that are corrupt and all that, but that's a fraction of the powerful people. Okay. Uh, think of a very, very powerful individual that you know, a very powerful individual. And you will often find that they are very, very kind too. They're very ethical. They have their own code of conduct. They have, morals and all that stuff, Where's the most powerful place you've been or studied? Uh, where's the most powerful place you've been or studied? Well, there are many. There are many. Can't really can't really point one out. Is creating a sigil with a specific relationship of yours in mind enough to create a psychic link to work out? Yep. If you put enough energy into it, yes. But you gotta put energy into it consistently, on a consistent basis. But yeah, that would be enough. See, it has to exist in your mind. That's it. And see your mind literally as the space around you, and ideas are simply things in you in that space. You can bring them in, and you can energize them, and then sooner or later they will be manifest physically. Okay. But at the same time, you got to be careful about what you keep in there, and it's just there uncontrolled, and it's still affecting you. So make sure that you cleanse your mind too on a regular basis. Okay. I'll use Reiki. That's a good idea. Yeah. Do you agree with the belief that a mass awakening is occurring over the next few decades? I have my doubts about that. I have my doubts about that because illumination is an individual affair. Only an individual can illuminate or can reach illumination. That's an individual thing. Just because you join a group or just because you join an order or just because you have a certain practice doesn't mean anything. Or a religion doesn't mean shit. Okay. It's about you personally having these experiences and through that get enlightened. So I don't think that happens at a mass level ever. It's always an individual affair. You know. Mm. Okay, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. I hope you got something out of it, and have a nice evening. Be well.